Hello everybody and welcome back to a new episode of the Nitro Racing League on NASCAR Heat 4 here on Xbox. It's been a little bit, we had a bit of a winter break, but we're happy now to be back for race number 4 on the season. Other than Daytona, we've had a very good last two races, obviously with a win, most recently at Las Vegas. Bristol, I qualified on pole. As you see the driver roster coming into this race, that was the qualifying results beside there on the right side. We qualified P1 for this race, so that would actually be a bonus point to us, so that was certainly something I was very happy about. Now as we would get underway though here in Nitro at Bristol, on the outside of us there was one of our moderators and good friend of mine in the community here of RJ Bishop there in the number 8 cars. He started on my outside. Like I said, he would be a big contender in this race against us now as we went down into turns 3 and turns 4. There's been some very recent changes in the roster kind of in this league that I will touch upon as the opportunity arises throughout this video. But we had a really fast car here today at Bristol Motor Speedway. I think I was running preset 3 or 4 or something like that. I can't remember now. But now as we came out of turns 4, I actually got into the wall the first time. The first opening bit of this first stage was certainly just trying to get used to not hitting that wall as I was making some mistakes. I should mention stage 1 and 2 were both 50 laps, and the final stage is 100 laps. So it's a 200 lap race overall here in Bristol, as we actually got a first caution due to a crash behind us, as there would be quite a few cautions in this race, and we came to the pit lane and actually had to restart P10 because I got my first speeding penalty of the season, or at least since Daytona. So that was certainly a big mistake on my part. We were leading into the pit lane, got a speeding penalty, so now I was back here in the field. This would be the only time I was back this far. As you saw, the 00 there actually goes spinning. I guess it was by himself because they didn't call a caution. Now as we go down into turns 1, I was playing it quite safe and back here in traffic. There, as you see, RJ in front of us in the number 8 cars. He was trying to pass the 10 of now, who was Justin in the 10 car. If you guys have been watching, you know it's usually Matt Chaffee, SHR Matt 10. Well, he actually quit the league recently, so he's no longer in it, but hopefully he comes back. He's one of my favorite people in the league, so we would love to see him back shortly. Now as we came through, we got past RJ, and now would run down Jay here, as we were also battling the 2 car of Smoke as we went down into turn 3, so trying to get past him because we certainly had a fast car. We were definitely one of the fastest cars here in Bristol. Now as we came through on lap 16. This, like I said, stage 1 and 2, both 50 laps, so we still had a decent amount of time to make something happen. As we would clear Smoke on the exit of turn 2, we sure enough would get to the inside of Jay as well, make a pass on him, and get back up to P3 behind our 2 JGR teammates of Matt, also known as Karma, and then obviously our other teammate Andrew in the 19, as well, as he was leading the way at this point as we came out of turn 2. So kind of hoping for a caution at this point so we could kind of get ourselves back grouped up together, because we knew we had a fast car now as we came out of turns 4. Pretty good corner there. Now as we actually would get the caution we were hoping for here on lap 19. Not sure what caused it, obviously, but we would end up getting that yellow flag now as we would group up here in P3, as Jay actually just went spinning behind us under caution. But we would actually get up to P1 on the pit stops and control the restart. So we came out of the pit lane P1, so jumping up 2 positions now in front of our teammate of Andrew there in the 19 as we came out of turn 2. So back in front, leading the way down the back straightaway here in Bristol. So certainly just showing how much speed we had in this car. Surprisingly, throughout this whole race, actually, I got in the wall again in turns 4, and I would actually get, I should mention, I actually got in the wall again, and that messed up Andrew and put him behind. I think we actually got another caution, but didn't bother showing it because we just kept leading anyways. But like I said, I didn't actually have to make a single adjustment to the car this whole race, so that was certainly a pretty big statement showing how good this car was driving. Same thing at Las Vegas. I never had to touch the car. Now as we actually would end up getting another caution here in stage 1 as we were pulling away at this point now, as there was just 15 laps to go at this point here in the first stage. RJ back up into P2, decided to restart on the outside here with the lap 40 coming to us now, so it would be 11 laps to go because the checkered flag of stage 1 comes out as soon as we hit lap 51. So obviously once we hit lap 50, that's the white flag in the stage. As we go down towards turn 3, RJ behind us kind of got into someone that looked like, and he went down the track, and that would put him way behind. He was certainly one of the fastest cars here as well. Now as we go down into turns 1, at this point 10 to go, we come through on lap 48, still battling away here with our teammate of Matt, Karma, and then Andrew got into the picture as well as we hit just 2 laps to go here on the stage. It was side by side for the lead, trying to get the stage victory now as we came through out of turns 2, heading down this back straightaway, clear of Karma as we go down into turns 3, but he tries to send it up the inside, but we had the momentum on the exit of turns 4 with the outside, and it propels us forward as the white flag is in the air here in stage 1. Andrew in the 19 now, gonna try and maybe take a shot at us now as we exit turn 2, a little bit sideways on the exit of the corner, but it's nothing I can't deal with now as we go down into turn 3. Andrew gets to the left rear, but we're just clear enough to hang on for the stage victory as we come through to win stage 1 here at Bristol. So a very, very solid first stage for us. I think we led a good chunk of it, especially in the last half. So we would get right back, though, into the action here. We would come to the pit lane again, but obviously we won the race off the pit lane, so we would get back going here for stage 2, leading the way as we came out of turn 2. And we would continue to lead this race as we did lead a lot of this race. Now as we came through on lap 65, it actually pulled away again at this point as we went down into turns 3 and turns 4, just hoping that it would stay green at this point. Now as we came through to cross the line on lap 66, the checkered flag for the second stage would come out once it hit lap 101, and then obviously the checkered flag for the whole race would be 201. Now as we came through down into turn 3 on lap 68, continuing to just hold the lead and stretch that gap out to Andrew in the 19. Now as it went down into turns 1, my car was really good on a long run, but we would not get a long run because the caution came back out here again in Bristol. Not sure, obviously, being up front, we don't really know what's causing these cautions. We just know that people are having incidents. So another caution, we would once again, though, have the lead. Andrew did not get a good restart at all here on lap 84, so we would be able to hold on as RJ actually pounces to the inside as we came out of turns 2. We nearly get into the wall there, down the back straightaways, we go down into turn 3. So RJ trying to make a move on us now as we come through turns 3 and turns 4. At this point, though, only 16 laps to go, and as we came through straight to just 2 laps to go in this second stage as we continued to drive away Snakebite or RJ still in P2 as we were coming through to approach the final lap now in the second stage. There you see up ahead the former league owner now of Sean in the 12. He had actually apparently quit the league too after this race. I'm not sure exactly what happened, but he is no longer there. As well as we came through down this back straightaway, I decided to just kind of lay back. I didn't feel like pouncing on the opportunity to lap him, so we come through out of turns 4, and we're going to win stage 1, and now we win stage 2 here as well in Bristol. So a very solid first 2 stages for us, and hopefully this will set us up really well for this third and final stage and give us a chance to get some more playoff points. We've obviously picked up 2 playoff points here today, and we'll get ready right back into the action here for stage 3. The final stage is underway in Bristol for Nitro Racing League. Now Andrew was up by inside at this point in P2 as we came through out of turns 2, heading down this back straightaway for the first time of this final stage. Can we hold on for the final 95 laps or so? What would be a factor at the end of this race? Obviously, anything can happen in this league, so you never know what's going to happen. We could be running. We could finish probably 9th or 10th still. Now, as we came through on lap 112, still leading the way, pulling away once again a little bit to the 19 of Andrew as we came through turns 1 and out of turns 2 down this back straightaway. But the longer the run went, the better my car was feeling against everyone else now, as that was just kind of what I was hoping for. In the short run, we were pretty even with the 19 of Andrew, the 8 of RJ, and as we came through on lap 117, there was actually another incident on track, and so we came through on turns, through turns 1 and turns 2, the caution finally got called. So now, I think, I can't remember who it was, it might have been Jay involved in that one, I might be wrong, but now we would get ready once again to go back green. So obviously leading at the point of the caution, we came into the pit lane, and then we came out leading here still on lap 122, so just kind of hoping that we don't get shuffled back. Surprisingly, I was having really good pit stops. Obviously, you guys saw earlier in stage 1, we went from P3 to P1 on a pit stop. I think I just kind of had a really good pit box. We were, I think, the #1 pit box, if I'm not mistaken. Now as we came through on lap 123, still leading the way down into turns 1. Andrew, though, putting on some pressure now as he would continue to try to put on the pressure, but obviously he had actually had some issues and he had fallen behind a little bit. I think that might have been after maybe some contact with me in the wall or something. I can't remember, but either way, he had fallen behind now, and then RJ had started to close the gap to me actually here on lap 142. And like I said earlier in this race, RJ, he was one of the fastest cars here for sure. He was certainly putting the pressure on me, closing the gap to me actually at this point, but then we would actually be able to stretch it back out, thankfully, on lap 151 now. At this point, only 50 laps to go in this race, as we had actually had a decent green flag run going for us there, as we saw the 12 of Sean, who had actually gotten out of the pit lane at this point now as we come through turns 1 and turns 2. But at this point, just hoping that it would stay green. And as we came through on lap 155, though, unfortunately, you can see some trouble going on up ahead. It looked like for a moment there, and sure enough, there is a car spinning. The caution comes back out. There you see Jay in P8. Jay was similar to me, had a really good run, or a really good car on the short run, but we would get back going here on lap 159. Some shakeups here on the pit stops. You saw now Matt in the 20 had gotten up into P2 as we would lead down this back straightaway down into turns 3. So thankfully hanging on for the lead at this point. Now, as I felt like if I could just hang on to the lead for the first 10 or so laps, then I would be able to run away with it. And sure enough, on lap 166, we had once again driven away as I actually got into the wall, but the caution had actually come out again. So many issues. This time, though, me and RJ both stayed out under the caution. So that was certainly a questionable call from the both of us at this point here as we would get ready to go back green on lap 169. Behind us, it was the 31, and then you saw the 10 of Justin behind RJ. Now let's go green once again down into turns 1 and turns 2. So hoping that this call would pay off now, as I certainly immediately realized that it might not have been the best call because the pace in the car was definitely not quite the same, as I had stayed out a few times earlier and it worked, but I felt like we just stayed out a little bit too long. So Andrew, he would get past RJ and he would get into my left rear actually, and we would get put in the wall by him, as that was not 100% or not intentional at all on Andrew's part. He just wasn't anticipating the tire fall off and just the speed there. Now as we came through battling side by side with him on the exit of turns 2, he's still looking for win number 1 on the season. He's, in my opinion, if not the best, or at least one of the best drivers in this league. Now as we came through down into turns 1 behind him, he cleared us now for the lead as we came through turns 1 and at turns 2. Now as we just continued to put pressure on him, I was expecting him to just drive away from me, but surprisingly we were able to stick with him. Now as we came through on lap 180, you look at my mirror and you see the 31 get shot backwards. It was because I had a leg spike actually, and that brought out a caution here with 20 laps to go here in Bristol. That made me feel kind of bad, but obviously there's nothing I can do about a leg spike now, as we would get ready once again to go back green. And this time we would come onto the pit lane behind the 19 whatnot. We would come out in P4, so that was certainly not looking good for us, as I was a little bit concerned. Actually, I should say we came out P3 because Sean dropped to the back there. So now we would get ready to go green from P3. RJ on the bottom, Andrew leading. He took the top lane like what I've been doing this whole race, but for the first time we're kind of set back here now, as I gave RJ a huge shot on the restart. 100% my fault actually. I thought he was going to get black flagged, but thankfully Andrew, he was able to actually get back the lead back on the restart, and I think that's probably why RJ didn't get black flag, because if he did get the black flag, that was probably 100% my fault there. As I felt bad when I was doing it, because I realized what I just done now is we had now been under attack from Jay on my outside, knowing we have to clear him right away because we have one of the fastest cars, and he had actually gotten in the wall. And now as we came through battling up the inside now of MJ in the 3 as we came through turns 3 and turns 4, the caution had actually come out again as soon as I had passed MJ. So we get ready to line up P3 at this point. Now as actually the drivers in front of us, Andrew, he came into the pit lane, and myself and RJ stayed out on what this could be the final pit stop. So now RJ was lining up on the top side. It was only him and I that stayed out, so everyone kind of thought we were kind of idiots for doing this. They were like, this is not a good call. Well, we're about to see how it works out now, as we're once again under green now with under 10 laps to go at Bristol Motor Speedway. On our outside, we have our teammate of Matt, knowing that if I don't clear him, RJ is going to drive away with this now, as I was still confident that we could pull something off. And sure enough, out of turns 4, we clear the 20, and we get up to that higher lane now, as RJ has probably a 3 to 4 car length gap between himself and I, as we have to try and close that gap. And sure enough, we come to 4 laps to go at this point, and we are closing that gap to RJ, as we had both driven away from the cars behind us, and it was going to come down to be a showdown between himself and I now, as we're approaching 3 laps to go here in Bristol. Closing that gap inch by inch now as it came through. 3 laps to go here at Bristol now, probably 2 car lengths or so, maybe even less between himself and I as we go down this back straightaway, approaching the final 2 laps. Snakebiter RJ looking for his first win of the season now as it came through. I think it's been quite some time since he's won here in the Nitro Racing League, so I had to keep that in mind, his playoff situation. We're already locked in, so I don't want to just wreck him for the win, but sure enough, we definitely want to win. I've given up a win here before at Bristol now as it came through turns 1 and turns 3 and turns 4, approaching now the final lap here in Bristol. About a car length and a half between himself and I, knowing we need a really good turns 2, and we get through turns 2 pretty good, but it doesn't look like it's going to be enough. We're going to have to send it in deep into turns 3. We're going to try and get to his bumper, but it's not going to be enough, as RJ will exit turns 4 to win here in Bristol as we come through to cross the line to finish in the second position. So we won stage 1, we won stage 2, so some playoff points. The pole was a bonus point, and we get P2 here in the final stage in Bristol. So Snakebite wins the race and locks himself now into the playoffs if he's in, I think, the top 10 or top 8 of points. I can't remember what it is to be locked in, but either way, he wins it, and I was very happy for him. And as always, if you guys enjoyed this one, make sure to comment, like, and subscribe. Those would all be very appreciated. Career mode will be back tomorrow with Texas, but so a great race for us in Bristol. Hope you guys enjoyed it. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching, everybody, and have a great day.